Going on, guys? Skoks, Chicago Blackhawks Central here. Gonna go over some of the most recent updates from the preseason schedule to the regular season schedule, and a lot of talk going on with GMKD post draft, the plans for Artem Levchinov, and we'll see where he starts out the season, and just a few more rumblings going on this week. But let's get into this. And let me roll the intro. Yeah, so I thought that we would start back with the schedule released a few days ago, and I think it would be nice to have it up here. So let me bring it up. If everyone can see this just fine, let me know if it's all good there. All right. I think it's up good, or maybe a little bigger, or like this. I think that's fine. Yeah, so let's go over some of the updates. Let's start off with preseason. I know that I think we did bring it up not too long ago with the preseason schedule, but the official schedule has released. So I think it's pretty important to go over here. But let's start off here Wednesday, September 25th. So that is when, hockey's starting back up. Mainly with the Hawks, but there will be the Tom Curvers prospect showcase, right? Usually in Minnesota, always fun to watch. I know a lot of you guys tune in for that as well. Last year, Bedard, right? He went off that first game. I think he had a hat trick, like 4 points maybe, and lots of fun. So that'll be before preseason, but preseason starting off Detroit at the UC, 7 p.m. Central Time. Nothing better than a nice 7 p.m. Puck drop. That is awesome to see. That's on a Wednesday, Friday night, September 27th. Chicago at Detroit, 6 p.m. Awesome. Love those early start times as well. Back-to-back games. So the 28th, Hawks at St. Louis, 7 p.m. Let's see here. October 1st, Hawks at Minnesota, 7 p.m. October 4th, Wild at the UC, 7:30 p.m. And let's see here. October 5th. So another back-to-back. That's cool. More hockey, but they are going to probably be rotating the full roster with some prospects like we always do. I believe Gavin Hayes got a few games last year. Sammy Savoie. The college kids were not able, but we will see who's in the lineup. And there's, lots to get into regarding the lineup and who's going to be in the system. So let's scroll on up here. Let's check it out. All right, maybe a few important dates. Let's see here. Kicking off the season at, let's see, the home game. I thought it was the San Jose Sharks, but am I wrong? Or no? Utah? Okay. Yeah, so the first game is the Utah hockey team, formerly known as the Arizona Coyotes, but I think that's awesome. We get to see the new jerseys, and it's going to be at their rink. So cool to see that. San Jose Sharks, that's our first home game. Yeah, so that's at the UC with Celebrini at the UC against Bedard. That's awesome. A few more key dates here. What do we have here? In November around Thanksgiving time, Thanksgiving week. Seattle, Vancouver, Anaheim, Florida, the Flyers, Stars, Wild. So pretty quality teams there in November, except the Ducks. They are not exactly quality right now, right? But in December, that is New Year's Eve. That's the Winter Classic game against the Blues at Wrigley Field. So awesome, awesome game. That's a 4 p.m. puck drop Central Time. And we played the Stars on the 29th. So not a whole ton of rest. And then they will be at Wrigley on New Year's Eve. That's awesome stuff to see. And then we get how many days off here? Um, a lot, actually. Like about a full week, a week and a day. Yeah. And then play Montreal. That's awesome. So lots of hockey in December. Definitely a lot. Any more key days here that anyone sees? But I think it's a pretty solid schedule to start off and around the holidays, because that's always a fun time to have a game on, right? To keep on in the background during the holidays, but will be more interesting this year with the upgraded rosters and just more things to pay attention to. But I think we'll get into the big beef news from GMKD this week. I believe he spoke this morning, or was it yesterday, about the plans with Lev Shinov and some of the questions that we had post draft about free agency and stuff like that. But let's get into that news. Let's see here. Really quick from Ben Pope. Season opening road trip every year, 4-game road trip. Yeah, so we're starting against Utah, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Calgary. We are going to be up in Canada to start off the year. But shout out to Colin Blackwell, Hawks legend, signing with the Stars there. Nice to see that for Colin Blackwell. And a bit of a surprising one as well. Mackenzie Entwistle, 2-way contract with the Florida Panthers. So the current and reigning NHL champs right there, Stanley Cup winner, Florida Panthers. Shout out to Twisty heading on down to Florida. So that's good for him. Let's see here. Scott Powers turned pro or return to school. The Blackhawks and Artem Levchinov have a decision to make. So that was basically before the press conference. So we will get into that right now, actually, because KD had a lot to say. Shout out Frank Nazar. He was doing some interview, I believe, with the Rockford guys. Yeah, Savoie, I believe Gavin Hayes as well, because we will see most of these guys in Rockford this year, and that's going to be awesome to pay attention to. Shout out Riz once again. Awesome interview with Merrick Vanacker up on his page. So definitely check out his stuff. Always gets a few cool interviews going there and puts up some prospect spotlights. So shout out to him as well. Always put out good stuff. Ben Pope, Blackhawks assistant GM Mark Eden made it sound like they like Artem Levchinov to be in the AHL this season. Quote from him. Let's get the full quote here. If we have the ability to have him in-house and our great development staff in Rockford with him on a daily basis to start to close that gap between where he is and where he needs to go, it's only a bonus. And I think the organization at least is I think they're leaning to have him in Rockford, and they're definitely trying to you know, talk him into signing and being in the system, starting out his rookie season. Would be a big bonus to have him in Rockford, to have eyes on him all the time, to get down there and work with him, right? The staff because he is a crucial piece to this team. He is very important, and I think they would just love to have him, close to home in Rockford and just getting awesome ice time with the Ice Hogs. And we'll see how the decor works out for the Ice Hogs this year with Del Mastro. Crevier's down there still. We'll see if Korch starts out on the Ice Hogs as well. But I'm pumped. Nolan Allen as well. So there's a lot to pay attention to in Rockford. So if you guys tune into the AHL, what's it called? AHL TV, or if you have a certain site to pull up some AHL games, definitely keep an eye on that this year. It's going to be big. Lots of prospects to keep an eye on, and some really big ones. Another interesting quote: Ben Pope's Chicago Sun-Times from Mark Eden once again. Said the Blackhawks wanted Ryan Green, so that is our center prospect from BU, right? Um, let's see here, Ryan Green to turn pro, but support his decision to return to BU for his junior year. So this is his third year into BU now. Could he have taken that step? I think he could have, and we told him that. But with his character, his work ethic, he's going to find ways to get better there as well. So I think they support any decision that they make. Early on like this, it's not like we need him contributing right now, but yeah. So after this season, then he'll probably head on to Rockford. But a few quotes from Ben Pope once again: the goat, the Pope, from Anders Sorensen, the head coach of the Rockford Ice Hogs. So Sorensen's honest assessment of Colton Dach's first AHL season. So, quote from him here: in the end of November, beginning of December, he was probably our best forward. We were really excited about how he was progressing. Then he had another setback with injuries, and after that injury, he never really found his game. I think there's tons there, both physically and mentally, for him to develop. A lot of room for growth, and I definitely agree with that because he did have a stretch before an injury where he was playing very well, scoring goals, um, making plays, being physical. As that 6'3", 6'4" centerman, and I've always liked Colton Dach as a prospect, so would love to see him stay healthy, contribute well in Rockford, and hopefully carve out a role somehow in the bottom six with the Hawks here in the very near future. But I'm still high on Colton Dach. I think he has some good game, definitely. If you guys check him out anytime. So definitely looking for him to stay healthy and just play consistent, right? Let's see what else we have going here. I believe this is Lovchinov. Let's take a look at, I believe this is Ben Pope putting it up. Let's see here. Ben Pope. Nope, not tweeting now. Yeah. Nope. It's Charlie Romeliotis, NBC Sports Chicago. Artem Levchinov looking relaxed in his first media availability in Chicago and also too tall for the microphone. Yeah, I guess. But he's just leaning over a bit, just catching his breath. Yeah, but definitely stout kid, broad shoulders. I mean, he looks just ready to play some hockey. So I know he's not used to that development camp, just being off ice, just hanging out, doing some cooking, having some field trips. Sounds like fun. But I know the guys want to get on the ice. I believe it was Frank Nazar in his interview with the Rockford Ice Hogs media. He said that he would love to be on the ice just to get some competition going with the new prospects, because when you see guys picked so high, in the first round, seems like you just want to compete with them, battle with them on the ice as prospects, and I definitely get what he's saying. Right, like just testing these newly drafted guys. So let's check out the picture here. I believe that's Ty Henry, Nazar, Lardis, Artie, Ledwinski, and I keep getting confused if this is for Rand or Ryan Green or Ryan Green. I can't tell. I really can't tell, but I believe that's Oscarsson from Sweden, giant. I think he's like 6'4", 6'5", so a bit of a bigger centerman, right? Um, but they're having some fun. Just having some field trips this week. Let's see here. Shout out to the Seattle Kraken. They named Jessica Campbell assistant coach, making her the first woman to hold the role full time on an NHL bench. Campbell and Bob Woods round out Dan Bylsma's coaching staff, but I believe she was the assistant coach, I think, in the AHL team, Coachella Valley, the Firebirds, I think. So definitely a big promotion there to get a gig in the NHL and being the first woman in that position. That's awesome for the Kraken. That's pretty big news. Um, Another interesting tweet from Chicago prospect. Shout out to him once again. Looks like Roman Kanserov is recovering well from the shoulder surgery he had in early May. So that's really not too long ago, but definitely looks like he's feeling better. Um, Hoping for a speedy recovery and get back on the ice. That would be awesome. Yeah, yeah. So development camp, I think, is just gonna wrap up this week, and we should be seeing more content from the Hawks. The Hawks content has been lacking lately, and I don't know if anyone else has noticed. Maybe they're just trying to handle the output of the media, but I definitely think they should be on that a bit more. Just touching on the social media aspect of it. That's very very uh, you know important to the team, the brand, everything. Just getting more eyes on the team. So a bit interesting on why they haven't been posting much. But yeah, would love to see some more coverage from the development camp, and I believe the um, what's the behind the scenes called for the Hawks again? It's not first shift, is it? It might be first shift. The Hawks first shift. If anyone has a name for that, if you could just let me know on that. Completely forgot. It might be first shift. It is it down here? Maybe not. I don't know. But oh wait, every shift. All right. Yeah. So every shift from the Hawks, that's probably going to drop this week. Uh, Probably like Monday or Tuesday. So we'll get to see some behind the scenes. Um, Another thing that I uh, saw from the interviews from the um, development camp, Sam Renzel looks completely different. You wouldn't even know it was him. He really built up his, shape. Looks a bit older now too, even though it's just like uh, two 2 years, right? Um, I definitely think he's going to carve out a nice role for this defense. Ben Pope, Blackhawks D, Sam Renzel was drafted as a project prospect with a longer development timeline. 2 years later, though, he's not such a distant asteroid. Quote, it's kind of all coming together as time goes on. And I definitely see that. Just in that video clip from the interview and just the picture, definitely. Uh, he looks like he's getting it all together, and that's awesome for Sam Renzel, and that's awesome for us, right? Because he is another first round pick, and should be a good piece to build with in this young core. Charlie Romeliotis, a quote he picked from the Tyler Bertuzzi interview. Bertuzzi said Chicago wasn't really on my radar going into NHL free agency, but Nick Foligno called him to tell him the Blackhawks were interested in him, and things developed from there. So, once again, Uncle Nick, Nick Foligno, the unofficial captain, right? He reached out to Bertuzzi and called him up, right, and convinced him to come on over, take a pretty decent contract here, and sounds like he's pumped, man. So that's all good to see. That's awesome. Bertuzzi is definitely an interesting player, and I think he's going to have a nice role. We're not asking a whole ton from him, but just playing his role, to the best. We'll see how that goes. But uh, finishing up here with the quotes from Ben Pope, the big takeaway from Kyle Davidson's press conference today was that he wants the Blackhawks young players to have really convincingly to have to really convincingly earn NHL jobs in order to get them. He felt like they were being given spots out of necessity last year. So I guess he's talking about just some of the younger guys like Crevier and a few guys that came up towards the end there. But Reichel had his uh, roster spot basically the majority of the season. He was down in Rockford for a little, but I think they just want more competition, people getting better, players getting better. So he specifically mentioned admiring how Dallas has handled Thomas Harley, the D-man for the Stars, right? And Logan Stankoven, the smaller forward that they have there, but a very talented one in Dallas. And I believe that finishes up the Hawks updates from post draft, post free agency, just the Kyle Davidson press conference, and really quick from Puckpedia. Keep an eye on this account now, since Cat Friendly will be shutting down very soon. Breaking news: Puckpedia's new interactive roster management suite is now live, introducing Puck GM. This is the initial version with a lot more being added in the near future. So it sounds, just like you're controlling the money and building out rosters. That's what it seems like. Cap breakdown, sign free agents. Yeah, so Cap Friendly has something similar as well. So that's nice to see that, another platform is building up stuff like that. So that's awesome to see. But that pretty much wraps up the updates for tonight. What's up? What's up? What's up, Gravely, man? Yeah, so gonna wrap it up here tonight. Lots of stuff that we went through from the schedule, from the quotes from the press conference, a few prospect updates, a few interviews. Riz put out, right? Just awesome, awesome updates this week, and definitely expecting more next week with a few more updates, right? Getting into the middle of summer here, so we'll see how the what's it called? The prospect showcase, what the roster is going to look like for that. I don't know when they're going to put it out, but I'm guessing late July, early August, but we'll see when that comes out. But we have lots to go over um, for next week. But definitely keep an eye on and definitely dig in more to the Artem Levshinov, update with starting in Rockford or staying at Michigan State. Definitely think it's going to lean Rockford, and I think the majority of Hawks fans would agree there as well. Would be an awesome opportunity for him to start out with the Ice Hogs. But that wraps it up there, and just keep an eye on that update because I think it's really interesting, and I think we're going to find out very, very soon here. GM Katie said the other day, right? I believe in a week or two we will know where he's going to start out his NHL career. So that's awesome. We're going to wrap it up there, though. We will be back, if not Sunday, early next week for more updates and more conversation. But we will get it going. We will get it going. We'll see you next time. Let's go Hawks.